This is a story about saying goodbye. I have lived in Nashville for 25 years almost, and I'm finally moving away. I've tried to move away many times over the years and it never quite stuck. But it's finally happening, I think. However, some things happened and now I'm stuck here for like 10 more days than I was planning on. And the joke is not lost on me. That's some serious Nashville vortex energy crap. But I figured I'd make the most out of my time here and make this little video essay, Goodbye Nashville. In my hometown, we used to come down to the river at night, and across the water there used to be these radio towers. It looks like they're not there anymore, but there were a bunch of radio towers, and at night the lights on those towers would twinkle, and if you used your imagination, you could almost imagine that it was a big city off in the distance. And we would sit here all night and dream about the future and talk about who we wanted to be when we grew up. That's the direction you would head if you wanted to go to Nashville, which was like the biggest city I'd really ever seen at that point. Sometimes I would imagine that those lights were Nashville off in the distance. So this is where my very first house in Nashville was. They tore it down as soon as we moved out.
We rented this house. It was $400, split 4 ways, behind a Harley Davidson in Nashville. And we were so poor that we would not turn the heat on in the winter. And we would take those space heaters at the foot of our bed and throw our blankets over the space heater, and we would sleep that way.
This used to be my home in Nashville. When I first showed up in Nashville, I walked into this building right here and got a job that I would keep for the next decade or so. This used to be a place called Coco. It never closed, it was open all night long, and I worked here third shift. I spent so many hours of my life in that house. There used to be tons of tables and chairs out here, and we would sit out here all night long, smoking cigarettes and talking about the future, talking about our dreams, our Nashville record label music dreams. Came true for some people. So Cafe Coco was right across the parking lot from a pretty legendary Nashville music venue called Exit In. So this was my neighborhood back in the day. They called this the Rock Block. It's changed a lot. A lot's been torn down. It used to be full of like vintage clothing stores and little music venues. That was a legendary Nashville hangout, the Gold Rush, long since closed. A lot of people feel like their hometown is a vortex, like they try to leave and they always get sucked back in. But I was just thinking about, at least in my experience, when you're really poor, you don't really have the resources to leave. You know, going to a different place and trying to start over is really hard. And it's so easy to get to a point where you really need someone's help, but your support system is back home. So you end up going back home.